Hello, Rockstar educators in the school district of the Menominee area. As you wrap up your mid-year screening window, I want to take just a few moments to talk a little bit about reading growth reports and student growth percentiles, or SGP, within STAR Reading and STAR Math. So let's get started with SGP. First off, what is a student growth percentile, or an SGP? Briefly speaking, a student growth percentile is a way to compare a student's growth relative to that of his or her academic peers. Easiest way of putting this together is taking a look at students who start at a similar scale score and the amount of growth that they make in relation to other students who have a similar starting point. So what does that mean? Well, taking a look at if we had 100 students standing in a line who all had a similar starting point or a similar scale score on their STAR reading or math. A student who had an SGP of 90 would actually be the student who showed more growth than 90 of his or her peers. So basically, students with a scale score starting at the same place or close to the same place, a student with an SGP of 90 showed more growth than 90% of those students with that same starting scale score or a similar scale score. So in a nutshell, that's what SGP is. Why is that important? Is it allows us to take a look at students in relation to other students of similar academic ability and how much growth a student in your class makes related to other students. So what does that mean for reading our reports? When you take a look at a growth report, in this example of 5th grade students who took the STAR math assessment, you can see the amount of growth that they made. So a student in this case who has an SGP of 95, we know that that student showed more growth than 95% of students who had a similar starting scale score. In this case, the student had a scale score of 649 and saw growth of 83 points, or up to, in this case, 732. Taking a look at their percentile rank or their percentage, that student went from the 49th percentile to the 72nd percentile, or saw a growth of 23 percentile points. So again, when we take a look at a student in this case who had an SGP of 95, they saw more growth than 95% of the students who had a similar starting point. So that's useful when you take a look on a student-by-student basis, but you can also take a look at this on a classroom basis as well. So in this case, when we take a look at the overall growth report for the students in your class, this will be the last page of the growth report, you can see that the growth expectations for the class are set at 40 SGP. And that's the case for all students in our district, regardless of the grade or their starting point. We are expecting that they will see an SGP of 40 or better in order to be on target with the benchmarks that are set for our district. So in this case, in 5th grade, in this particular classroom, 81% of the students either met or exceeded that SGP of 40. The median SGP for the class in this case was 63. So in relation to the growth expectations that we have set as a district standpoint, this classroom exceeded that, and 81% of the students actually saw more than that SGP of 40. You can also take a look on this report as to what is the average scale score increase. In this case, this class saw an average scale score increase of 59. And when you take a look at the percentile rank increase, the class average, if you were to take a look at the class as one versus as several individuals, you had a percentile rank in the fall, in this case of 64, and a percentile rank mid-year of 74. So you saw a nice increase in this case as well. So just a real quick overview on how to interpret the growth report and some follow-up on SGP. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me or the guidance counselor within your building or one of the intervention specialists. Thanks, and have a great day.